All right, so this video is going to be an album review for Nas and DJ Premier's new album titled Light Years. This is the heavily anticipated project that hip hop fans have been waiting for more than 20 plus years. And I'm going to try my best to give you the most honest and neutral review. So I took some notes to kind of help me stay on track. So if you see me going back and forth, because I'm looking at my notes. And here we go. So right off the bat, let's talk about some of the central themes of this project. On one hand, we have two master musicians, Nas being the master lyricist and MC, and DJ Premier being the master DJ slash producer here. These are two people who have grown up in hip hop. So a lot of the things you hear them talk about is their perspectives, their maturity growing up in hip hop, and legacy. Hip hop's legacy and their own personal legacies. So, to say the least, this is not a project that was meant to be mainstream. This is not about album sales. This is more of a time capsule, a album that represents an era, a movement, if one might say. And we see this definitely through Nas's lyrics, which mostly everybody who's reviewed this project says that Nas on here is really spitting. He's really on top of his game. But we also see it through the music production. We see it through the samples that Premier chooses. We see it through the beat selection, the scratches, etc., etc. And honestly, that's probably, from what I've seen other people post, is the biggest critique of this album is the music production. So with that being said, I do want to sort of highlight, once again, this is not an album meant for mainstream consumption. This is not an easy listen. This is not something that you're going to just listen to and sort of vibe to right off the bat, especially if you're not used to this type of music, if you didn't grow up on this type of music. This is not going to be such an easy listen. You're going to have to do some research. You're gonna have to do some homework. You're gonna have to listen to it multiple times to kind of get all of it. And honestly, even for someone like me who I grew up on some of this stuff, it wasn't the easiest listen. And every time that I hear the album, I pick up something new, and it just makes the listening experience that much rewarding. So this is definitely an album that you have to sort of live with for a while. You're going to have to keep coming back. But that's what makes it great, is those sort of albums that just keep giving and giving and giving and giving. It's definitely not a one-time listen and oh, I can make an educated review on it. You definitely have to listen to this a lot. So it's not an easy listen. And yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the criticism that's online is based off of that. People aren't used to listening to albums that challenge their listening. So especially if you're a younger person and you're not used to this stuff, is going to challenge your listening. And if you are a person from this generation and you still don't like it, as a musician, from a strictly analytical musical plane, I can tell you that this album is packed with gems. You're not going to pick it up right off the bat. And just from a pure analytical perspective, this is a great album. So let's not get it twisted. The lyrics, the beats, everything about it is great. It's mature, it's well thought out. And yeah, let's get right to it. So here's my track by track analysis breakdown of it. So the opening track is called My Life is Real. And Nas is basically just establishing himself as an authentic person, an authentic figure. And he talks about his street survival, legacy, and staying in tune with himself. As far as the beat, from what I understand, and I heard this on the Joe Budden podcast, Joe Budden said that he had the original demo version of this, and that the sample that was used in the demo version is not the same sample as the version that made the album. So I would be very interested to see what the original sounded like. For this particular intro, I wasn't too much of a fan of the beat. I think what threw me off was the piano. The piano sounded like one of those piano sounds that you just sort of get off of like FL Studio or something like that. So the beat for this one, for an intro, it was a little bit underwhelming, but the lyricism of Nas and those drums is what sets it off. And a lot of people don't really understand that DJ Premier, that's sort of like the magic of DJ Premier, is complex simplicity, I guess is the best way I can describe it. He just has a way of playing the simplest drum groove, but it's the feel of it, it's the way it sits on the beat. And this definitely, with those grimy drums that he loops over this, it definitely gives like that, like a hard sound. All right, for the next one, get ready. This particular track, I loved. I love it. Nas tells him, "Hey yo, let me hear that turnaround," and the bass does the turnaround, like musically speaking, like the bass does a turnaround, like a literal turnaround. I thought it was so fly from a musical standpoint. The bass line is so funky, such a funky bass line. I kind of feel like that bass line just kind of carried the instrumental. And he's talking that talk on here. He's like, oh, you're gonna give me this fly bass line? Like, I'm gonna give you some fly talk. So he gets into his talking about crypto, and really he replaces, like, here we see like the growth. Like, early Nas would have been talking about the drug dealing and the selling the drugs, and I got this, and here Nas is like, he replaces the drug talk with like investor wealth crypto talk, which super fly. The third track, NY State of Mind Part 3. So obviously we know the previous NY State of Minds from Nas are classics. Here the most noticeable sample is the Billy Joel sample, with the piano, and I love this beat. I love this. This beat is so well thought out. It starts with like the Billy Joel sample, and you think he's about to give you that, like, oh, here we go with the soul beat, but nope. When the beat drops, he gives you this nasty sort of like cluster chord, where he's just pressing down a bunch of keys. That's what we call a cluster chord, and it just hits you like the tension of the cluster chord with the drums, those filthy drums. It just hits so hard, and it comes so unexpected. The drop is so unexpected with that cluster chord. I love it. I love it when music catches you off guard. Like, you think it's gonna give you something, but then like, not that. I love it. And Nas is on there, like, he's going back to that Illmatic Nas, reflecting on New York and doing his thing. And then what I love about it is then at the very, 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 very end, Premier gives us like, oh, this is what it was supposed to be. He gives us the soulful drums with the soulful like Billy Joel thing, and he ends the beat with what we thought he was gonna originally give us. Oh, I just thought it was brilliant. Like, the beat, again, master musicians, Nas, everything he was talking about. I love that track. Absolutely brilliant. And I'm sure there's still more stuff I'm not catching on. Next track, Welcome to the Underground. We here have a Ralph McDaniel sample. He's the one saying, "Welcome to the Underground." And Ralph McDaniel was a pioneer, DJ pioneer. He went by the name Uncle Ralph. And we also see a sample from NWA, F the Police, and the sample is the snare hit. Again, when we talk about challenging listening responsibilities, this is not the easiest beat to get into, but it is a well made beat. Really well made, with a lot of awesome scratches from DJ Premier. And on this one, Nas just is welcoming us to like this raw and raw unfiltered essence of hip hop, and it kind of just like, hey, let me get away from all this mainstream stuff, and this is hip hop. So I thought that was pretty cool. Number 5, track 5 is called Madman. Here again, guys, DJ Premier. If you don't know what a diminished chord is, you should look it up. He uses a lot of diminished chords and a lot of cluster chords. Well, only on the one track, but he loves to use chords with tension, and he's such a like these diminished chords that DJ Premier, he's so masterful at creating so much tension with the instrumental, particularly through these diminished chords, and then like giving us just a little bit of release, and but the tension, like it feels like something crazy is about to go down. It just puts you in a certain mindset. And here in this track with Madman, he does the same thing. He uses these dark cinematic strings, and they're playing these diminished chords, and it's just like, oh, a spooky hour, like something spooky, like something bad is about to go down. But then like he gives us that a contrast. So he has the spooky diminished strings, but then he gives us this melodic, sort of odd bass line, and the two things, it's such an interesting it's such an interesting contrast as far as the beat goes. He samples a lot of Wu-Tang Clan on this track. Wu-Tang Clan 7th Chamber and Clan in the Front. And so the beat, I really enjoyed this beat. Nas is over here talking about unhinged and controlled intensity. He's talking about confronting his critics, his ego, his mental pressure. Very, very introspective, very, very high level rapping. Pause Tapes. This was one of the tracks that a lot of people just didn't get. And again, if you're from that era, like you're gonna like understand it, and you're gonna have an appreciation for it. But here, Nas uses hook. Hook is a recorded loop. Nas gives us that throwback nasty Nas flow, and this is really a celebration of hip hop. This whole track, it's a celebration of the creation of early hip hop. That's why we hear a lot of noise tape. This is how people used to make beats back in the day, take little loops, and with the cassette tapes and all that. So this is really a celebration of hip hop. This track, from the way that it was made, the scratching, the lyrics, the tape noise in the background, the way the hook was looped. I really appreciated that track. And for all we know, Premier's probably crazy enough to have actually made this beat the old school way. But I'm sure that with more interviews, we'll find out more about the project. Writers is track 7. Again, great scratching. If you know Premier is known for his scratching. And something interesting, Nas and Premier did an interview with Joe Budden today. Today is Monday, the December 15th, 2025. And he compares the DJ scratching to the rock guitars, to the guitar solo in rock bands. He also compares his scratching as his verse on the beat. So this is, it's deep on a lot of planes, because a lot of modern hip hop, a lot of modern rap doesn't use scratch. Scratching is sort of like an art form that's going out the window. And here we see DJ Premier talking about the importance of scratching as not only a musical instrument, but a medium of artistic expression. So I thought that was very profound. 7 Writers is basically him paying tribute to graffiti writers and their written work. So hip hop's visual element and hip hop's lyrical and musical forms. And he samples a lot of Eric B and Rakim on here. my melody and let the rhythm hit. Again, even the sample selection with the song theme, it gets deep. It gets deep, and I'm sure that they're probably saying some fly stuff from like me personally. I didn't come up from that Eric. I'm not that old like Eric B and Rakim. I'm sure that they're making some crazy connections on this album that is just totally going over my head. But this is what I mean. Like, this is not an easy listen. This is something that's going to require, it's a challenging listen, something that's going to require me to study, do some homework. And that's good. The more you learn about the music that you're listening to, the more connections and the more you can get out of it. So I love these type of projects. Track number 8, Sons. So this was a track that was supposed to sort of be like not the response, but like the equivalent. So it's Nas had the song Daughter, so now here he writes Son, and he's sort of like reflecting on fatherhood and legacy and offering wisdom. This track made me cry. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm a father. It completely made me cry. The beat with the lyrical content, absolutely beautiful chords. I just really love this song. It was definitely like one of the emotional peaks as far as the album is concerned. And it's not very frequent that we hear songs dedicated to sons. Songs dedicated to sons. All right, let's move on. Track number 9, It's Time, featuring Steve Miller Band. Again, the funky bass line, like Premier just kills funky bass lines, man. Like, because he's from that funk era, and this is where hip hop came from, sampling funk. You know, those James Brown records that they would sample the breaks and so just making that connection to funk and these funk samples, these funky bass lines is great. But Steve Miller Band is a rock band, but it's the style that the bass line is the way Premier chops it up. It's extremely funky. So here Nas talks about an urgency to growth and time chasing. He gets into like his philosophical bag, he's dropping knowledge on this one. Next we have Nasty, Esco, and Nasir. And this track, Nas kind of like, he gets into his alter ego bag and he starts talking about his various personalities, like young and hungry Nas versus like seasoned Nas, and then him sort of like trying to deal and work through like this whole idea of evolution and growth and identity. So very I thought it was a very interesting theme. You know, Nas is one of the GOATs. He's been in the game for a long time, and sort of hearing these sort of perspectives, one can get a lot from. The beat itself was sort of like like a rock swung beat, but punchy, if that makes sense. Track 11, My Story, featuring AZ. Again, the diminished chords. I love it. Premier uses dusty drums with soulful loops and classic scratches, and then he throws like these diminished chords. Absolutely sick. I love it. It's a warm boom bap style, which you guys don't need to know that. Let's see here. Nas and AZ basically exchange live narratives. They talk about street tales, growth, relationships, etc., etc. Number 12, Bouquet, To the Ladies. They sample LL Cool J, I Need to Love, so that's cool. It's various samples, but that's the one that stuck out to me. The instrumental, again, is smooth, soulful. I said smooth, soulful. That's how and it ought to be smooth and soulful. It's a song for the ladies, and this is just a respectful tribute to women from hip hop icons. So yeah, I really enjoyed that track too. Next we have Junkie, and we have again like this very, like, from the production side, this string motif in the background. And again, it's a motif. If you don't know what a motif is, a short repetitive musical idea that's presented throughout a work. And like this little motif is so simple, but it gets the job done. It just creates a vibe and a mood. Um, Here, Nas compared his passion for rap and creativity to an addiction, and this is one of the songs that I felt too. Especially like if you're in love with music and you're actually like hands on like playing an instrument or make music or whatever, you know how addictive music can be. And so if you're like a music creator, this song will definitely hits. Um, Next we have Shine Together. Shine Together. And this song is basically about unity, resilience, and community. And interesting, he samples B.I.G. and Busta Rhymes, Victory, Puff Daddy, Victory, and Terror Squad, Terror Era. And it has like a piano, like sort of like an uplifting piano sound, layered with boom bap drums. Track 15, Third Childhood. So Second Childhood, it samples Second Childhood by Nas. And this particular track is, I guess, a celebratory blend of the different like stages of Nas, I guess. He continues his narrative about youth and wisdom. So yeah, this album I really, 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 really enjoyed. My standout tracks were Bouquet, the one where he pays homage to like all the ladies of hip hop, Sons, Writers I really loved, the NY State of Mind. It's just a lot of tracks that I really mess with. But that's because I didn't just listen to this once and went and recorded this video. I spent basically the entire I first heard it Friday, and I spent some time with it Saturday, some time with it Sunday, and listened to it a little bit today, and I did some research. So again, this is not an easy listen. This is something you got to keep going back to. You got to do some research. You got to dig. It challenges you. And I think the best art is the art that challenges you to grow. It pushes your listening responsibilities. It pushes your boundaries. Usually that's the best art that you get the most out of. So I guess it goes without saying, I really enjoyed this project. I really enjoyed this project. From what I understand, Nas and Premier said that they were both on tour while making this, so it was challenging being together and writing. Premier says that Nas took a long time to write track 7, Writers, because he didn't want to not Writers, the Bouquet, because he didn't want to forget anybody. But yeah, it's a great album. Did it meet fans' expectations? I think that when something is this anticipated, it's difficult to meet fans' expectations, and I think they went the right route. They're like, forget fans' expectation. Let's do something real and artistic for hip hop. And they doubled down on hip hop, and I think it came out great. If I was gonna rate this out of 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, I would definitely give this a solid like 4 mics or 4 stars, maybe 4.5. I'm not sure. The more I listen to it, this just sounds like a project that will age well, that people will study years from now. But yeah, I personally really enjoyed it, and like I said, it's not an easy listen. I keep saying that because it's not an easy listen. But I challenge you all to dig, do the homework, do the research, re-listen and listen again, because even from a musical plane, it's some gems musically, lyrically. It's a lot of gems in here. So that's my review. I give it a 4.5 of 4.5. Let me know what you think and what's your favorite track. Peace.